YouTube, Quinn Wade, coming to y'all with that instant playoff prediction analysis on Analysis Playground on YouTube, exclusively on air. And since we know who the Blazers and is going to play now, since they got the 7 seed, let's talk about them versus the Spurs, who are the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. They see each other April 19th, and that's going to be game one. The Blazers are a really good team. They're going to be interesting to see against a team like the Spurs. Obviously, is going to be perimeter player oriented besides Victor. Let's talk about the Blazers first. You got Denny Avdia, who really showed out in the first playing game, and he's going to be a big part of what they do because he was their all-star. He's going to try to get to the rim. He's going to try to find them shooters. He's going to try to find guys in the paint for easy chances and easy opportunities if he ain't finishing it. He's going to have to be able to knock down his threes. Of course, he's going to be able to knock down his free throws. He's going to be a huge part of what they do. He's going to be an offensive engine for them. And he's been doing it all season. It's just going to be tough because, Victor is going to be roaming in that paint. Big Net might be roaming in that paint to try to make it hard and difficult for him to get good looks. Guys like Fox and Stephon Castle and Barnes and other guys are going to try to find a way to get their hands in, trying to get some blocks, trying to get some strips on Denny. Will he be able to take care of the ball? Will he be able to score at a high volume like he has done in the playing game? So we know he's going to have a series where he's going to shoot the ball well, or is he not? Is he going to turn the ball over too much? Is it going to be difficult for him to get those good drives to the basket against a better defensive team and a team that actually got rim protectors? That's going to be something he's going to have to figure out. That's going to have to be something he's going to have to do if he wants to have success against the Spurs, which is just a different level of a team that they have played against. Jeremy Grant, he's going to have to be big, his ability to be switchable, his ability to be a perimeter player and a guy that can get to the basket, a guy that's a solid defender. They're going to need him playing real well inside out. And he showed that he can do it all season. He shows that he fits with what they're still trying to do. But he's going to be a big player on both ends of the court for them. He's going to have to step up if they're going to pull off the upset. You can say the same thing about Tamani Kamara. Will he score double figures? Will he average double figures? Will he be able to make his threes? Will he be able to make it difficult on Fox, on Castle, and those guys? He's going to have to step up defensively and also be consistent offensively if they're going to pull off the upset. You can say Donovan Clingan is going to be hard for him because the Wemby is a little bit more athletic, a little bit more faster, but he is smaller. Clingan is 7'2", 280, so he has a big, strong, wide body. He's going to try to be physical. He is going to try to make some threes, too, to stretch out that floor, to try to get Wemby out of that paint and Big Net. But at the same time, he still can be a monster on the glass, offensively and defensively. He's going to try to finish around the rim strong if he can. And, he's going to be a big part of what they do when it comes to trying to get advantages for guys like Denny and Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson. They're going to be on the perimeter, but they're going to also try to work their way inside if they can. And Scoot is a guy that you want him to shoot, but he's going to have the ball in his hands as a creator too. Will he be able to be efficient? That's one of his biggest questions this entire season. Will his jump three-point shot work? Will he be able to drive from time to time? Will he be able to make a mid-range? You don't really worry about that too much with Denny, but Scoot is a guy that can be off and on, hot and cold with his perimeter shooting. And Drew, he's going to be a good defender. That's one thing you have to question. He's going to try to be a combo guard and make plays. But can he make shots? Can he make those threes? Will the three ball work this series? Will he be able to get to the paint and make some mid-ranges from time to time when the paint is a little clogged? Or will he be able to be that spacer, on or off the ball? That's something that we're going to have to see. We know that he's going to bring his A game. We know he's going to be a competitor. But the offense has to be there from them. And those are the guys that I mostly look at and say they're going to need to score big. Now, off the bench, you got Shaedon Sharpe. You know he's going to come in and be a 3-point threat on or off the ball. You know he's going to try to drive if he can, and he possibly going to try to get to the free throw line. He's going to be their biggest piece off the bench when it comes to production. You know, you're going to expect him to do the most off the bench for the Blazers. Even if he has to pass or create shots for others, they're going to depend on him a lot off the bench. And then if it's not him, it's Robert Williams. You know he's going to try to come off the bench and get 10 plus boards. He's going to try to be physical. He's going to try to score fast. And he's going to try to score off offensive rebounds too. And then it's about closing possessions. You know, Wemby is one of the better rebounders. You know you have to stay close to him. You know you got to be physical with him. You know you have to be tough with him. That's just something that's a given if you want to win. Matisse Thybulle, you know he's going to have to defend well and stay out of foul trouble. He can do that. You know he can get blocks. You know he can get steals. You know he can make guys work for it on the offensive end while still being a guy that can space the floor and make some threes. You happy with that? Chris Murray, if guys get in foul trouble, guys struggle a little bit defending some of the players on the Spurs. He's one of them guys that you can put in for 15 to 20 minutes. He can rebound. He can defend. He can make a wide open shot. He can get out in transition. He might even cut a couple times. It's better than nothing. That's what you got. He's a legit 6'8", 218. So that's just another body that you can throw out there. Caleb Love, will he play? Will he even get on the court? That's going to be interesting to see. Will he be efficient? Will he take good looks? Will he be able to make them? And you look at Krejci, you know he's out there for shooting. That's something that you want to see him do. That's something that you believe that he can do. Even if it's in 5 to 15 minutes, you just hope that he can contribute some way, somehow. And City, he might not play a lot either, but he's mobile. He's athletic. He's a guy that can play off other guys and be a play finisher. So it all makes sense when you look at their roster. It's been making sense all year. That's why they finish above 500. That's why they was able to win a play-in tournament. They know their style. They know how to play their game. They know what they need to do. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be ready. And, you know, when you look at the Spurs, they will be the same. You know, Mitch is one of the coaches of the year, easily. One of the better coaches. He's proven that already. He got these young guys being accountable. He got these young guys being ready and prepared. He got these young guys ready to go to war. You just hope that they can stay healthy. If they're going to stay healthy, they should be able to win this series just based off talent and discipline. And you look at Harrison Barnes, he's one of their veterans. He won a title. He knows how to play his role. He knows how to get open. He knows how to attack. He knows when to pass. He knows how to defend. So he's going to be important off the bench or as a starter, whatever happens throughout the series. Carter Bryant started stepping up more. He just needs to be a shot maker and a guy that can defend and help on the glass. Stephon Castle, you know, he's a defender and he's a guy that can get his own shot. He's showing you that he can play off the ball a little bit more lately, and that's something that you're going to need him to do if you're going to space the floor and let guys be able to go one-on-one or take advantage of matchups in the half court. And then you look at Julian Champagnie, he's a floor spacer. You know he can defend. You know he can rebound. You know he can hit the three. You know he can hit a mid-range or a layup if it's needed. You just need him to be able to be ready to knock down shots. De'Aaron Fox, he can get his own shot. And if he ain't getting his own shot, he's finding ones for others. And then can he make his threes? Can he make his mid-ranges? That's going to be essential to how the offense performs because they're going to need guys making shots. And it's going to be tough because Portland do have good, solid perimeter defenders and a bunch of them that they can put out there and throw out there in general. And then Dylan Harper, he's young. Will he be ready for the moment? Can he get to the basket? Is he going to be a playmaker? Well, he showed that he can do that all season. Now he has to do it at the highest level against some players that really want to beat him, really want to come at him, really want to make things tough and difficult. And that's going to be interesting to see for him. And because you want him to gain experience, you want him to get better, you want him to learn. Obviously, you got to take it game by game. And you know you're going to try to play him a lot of minutes off the bench if you can, you know, for him to gain that experience and have those learning experiences. Even in the future, even in future series, if they actually win this series. But Dylan Harper, we know what he brings to the table. We know that he should be able to play the same type of style. And it's just about it being a little tougher for him to be able to do it. You know, they have clinging and things like that. You got to get past the perimeter guy. Then you got to probably finish over a big. And can you do that efficiently? Can you do that effectively? That's going to be something that's interesting. And then you look at Keldon Johnson, one of the best six mans in the league. You know he can score. You know he can rebound. You know he can shoot. But against a team like Portland, they're going to pay more attention to him. They're going to have guys that can stay in front of him. They're going to have guys that's going to make it tough for him. He has to be ready. He has to still find a way to have his will be unlocked as much as it can. So you can't take me away. You can't take me out of the series. That's the mentality he's going to have to have. That's the type of play he's going to have. And he's going to have to be ready to score whenever he has the opportunity to. He showed that he can do it throughout the regular season. So we're not going to doubt it. We just have to see it against a team that's going to have players and personnels that match up well against them. Luke Cornett, like I said, we don't really know much about what he's going to do and how he's going to be available. But one thing we do know is that he can rebound and protect the rim and finish around the basket. He's going to have to be a guy you got to pay attention to if you're Portland. We got to stay close to him. We got to stay next to him. We got to make him work. We can't let him get good, open, high percentage looks if we can stop it. And that's all you can really do for him. Jordan McLaughlin might not play that much, but you know he can run the offense. You know he can make some shots from time to time, even though he might not take that many. Then you look at Devin Vassell. He's going to be important. Can he be a good floor spacer? We need you to be ready to make threes. We need you to be ready to make mid-range. We need you to be able to knock those down consistently. If you're able to do that, that gives us a good chance to win this series. And that's how it's going to be. And then Lenny Waters, you know, he wants to knock down a three. You know, he's going to have to defend. Will he even play? That's going to be something that may happen or may not. They have a lot of good players. They have a lot of good guards. In the playoffs, you usually play them more. You usually give them more chances on the court. And guys like Lindy and them don't really play that much for that reason. You're going to ride and die with your best players so you can have the best chance of beating a great team. And I do feel like Portland may not be a great one, but they are definitely respectable as an opponent. And then, of course, Wemby. This is his first playoff series. This is his introduction to a lot of people at a high level. Can you come out and do what you say? You feel like you have all these cases, you have all these things that you feel are great about the team and yourself. Now you got to go out there and prove it. And I think that Klingon is going to give him some trouble. But at the end of the day, can he figure it out? Can he make those mid ranges? Can he make those threes? Can he get to the paint and finish? Can he dominate on the glass and try to protect the rim while it's spaced out? Because Klingon can't shoot threes. Wemby can do the same. Will he be able to make his three? Sometimes he go 2 of 7. Sometimes he go 3 of 8. Can he make it better? Can he actually stay consistent when it comes to the offensive end? Whenever they give him the ball, he can always give them a high quality look or shot against anybody that they put on him. Those are things that he showed that he can do, but he also has been a little inconsistent that as a rookie, and even during this season, he had games where he just didn't have it when it came to be dominant on the offensive end. He's going to have to be that. You know, when you're going against these teams round after round, series after series, game after game, you're going to have to be a dominant offensive player. At the end of the day, they're going to need somebody that they can throw the rock to and they can get them a bucket, because we know that the Blazers have good perimeter defenders. We know that they have size. So Wemby going to be the biggest person on the court. He's probably going to be the best player in the series if he does play as well as he has done in the regular season. Numbers wise, offensively and defensively, he should be the best player in this series easily, based on what we have seen from him and based on what we know from him. Obviously, it's going to be a learning experience. Obviously, it's not going to be easy, but the Spurs should be able to win this series. The Spurs should be able to get it done. I'm going to say Spurs in 6. I do think Portland can give them some problems. I do think Portland can give them some trouble. I think Portland is a feisty team. They have good shooting. They have guys that know how to get theirs. They have guys that match up decently against the Spurs. The Spurs' perimeter play can be questionable sometimes when it comes to jump shooting. They've been proving that they've been working at it. They've been getting it better. But, you know, the Blazers can make it tough and difficult by staying more attached to them and not letting them get all those open opportunities or those breakdowns by staying in front of them. They showed that they can do it against Phoenix, and Phoenix gave the Spurs some trouble too. But the better team should win. At the end of the day, talent does matter. Size, and skill set does matter. And I feel like the Spurs have a little bit more. I feel like the Spurs can, do more things. And I just feel like they have more options. I do feel like that when I look at their entire roster. I feel like they fit well, they play well, and they really understand how to play team basketball at a high level. And I feel like if you can slow down Denny, if you can make things tough on Denny, the offense and the success of the Blazers go down a little bit. And like I said, the only way the Blazers can stretch the series out longer than that is if Wemby is not dominating the game offensively. If they can take him to being a 20-point scorer instead of a 25 or 30-point scorer, the Blazers have a better chance of winning. If Wemby just is unstoppable, unguardable, and just doing whatever he wants, like he has done against certain teams, then this series can be over faster, or it might go six because he might not do it every single game. He might do a majority of the series, but not every single game. So it should be fun. It should be interesting. Of course, the Spurs fans are going crazy because they want to see their Spurs in the playoffs. Now they finally get a chance to see it. Now they finally get a chance to have something to cheer about again. And now they have a chance to even see how serious the Spurs are going to take it, how good is they really going to be. I do think Portland is a worthy and good opponent, and I feel like it's only going to make them better, especially if they figure out how to win it and get it done. But I respect Portland. I picked them to beat the Phoenix Suns. They did it, and I do feel like they can win 2 games against the Spurs. I have seen the Spurs have a lot of games where they were just out of it. And if you can take their space away, if you can take their ability to collapse the defense away, which the Blazers, like I said, have personnel to do, it's going to be tougher for them to score. It's going to be tougher for them to put up points, especially if Wemby can't dominate. So it's ways for the Blazers to win games. But can they win enough to win the series? I'm not that crazy to say that. Spurs in 6 is what I'm saying. Comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell to get that analysis when it first come out. Y'all stay blessed up. Y'all stay good. Peace. Let me know who you think gonna win the series. Let me know if I'm crazy, if I'm overthinking something, if I'm wrong about something, or let me know if I'm sleeping on somebody. At the end of the day, it's all fun. It's all predictions, but I like being right if I can, because there's more bragging rights with that. Other than that, see y'all later today with more playoff and play-in analysis.